All right, everybody. We lost a close one there. It is not the best thing in the world, but it is what it is. We are 3-2, and on that one, honestly, it's hard to win when you have to score 50 points to win a game. I mean that was the name of the game. You can't if we get into a knife fight. Um, it's what it's gonna be. Um, it sucks, but it is what it is. Um, I want to go. I want to go to the actual score of the game real quick, just so I can be informed. We would have had to score 48 points. How do you like? How do you have like you? Yes, I mean they scored. They had to score 47 to beat us at home. They scored 28, or I'm sorry, they scored 26 points in the fourth fucking quarter. 26 points in the fourth quarter. Like, it's insanity that we allowed them to do that. The first quarter, 7 points. Second quarter, 6 points. Third quarter, 8 points. Fourth quarter, 26 points and a loss. For anybody out there who's going to call this on Baker or something like that, Baker Mayfield was 23 of 32, 306, 2 touchdowns. Wasn't Baker's fault. It was absolutely not Baker's fault. He did what he could. Our defense, the defense that had just previously given up less than 10 points consecutively, flew to LA and said, you know what? Let's give up. Let's get as close to 50 as we can. That's what it was. I'm going to be joined here soon. My dad took off. He's heading home. He's going to use the same link, Zoom link. He'll be there. And Ristano's going to be joining here any second as well. As soon as they join, we will be live with my co-host. But until then, you guys get Angry Mike. And I got to tell you, fourth down efficiency, Los Angeles Chargers, 3 for 3. Third down, 6 for 13. Browns third down, 4 for 11. Browns fourth down, 1 for 3. No fumbles lost, no interceptions thrown. So it wasn't that we didn't lose on turnovers. Total yards, 532 total offensive yards. Passing yards, 302. Rushing yards, 230. Nick Chubb went for 161 and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt went 61 for 2 touchdowns. David Njoku had the game of his life, 7 receptions, 149 and a touchdown. Peoples-Jones played pretty well. Odell Beckham drops a pass. It hits him right in the hands. I think what Baker should do for Odell from now on is just throw it so Odell has to make one-handed catches for everything. Because that's what Odell wants to do. He wants to do one-handed circus catches. So Odell Beckham, you got mad at Baker for throwing it so you couldn't score your touchdown in the last one. Baker throws you a ball that hits you in the freaking numbers and you can't catch it. Okay, cool. Good job, Odell. Way to go. Odell Beckham, 2 catches, 20 yards, completely insignificant other than a drop pass on fourth down. Thanks, Odell. You're Odell Beckham, you're a waste of time. You guys can, if we talk about Odell Beckham anymore, could we possibly talk about Odell Beckham either here on television or on Twitter who does less for a team? Odell Beckham hasn't done anything for us of real significance since the Dallas game last year. And that was basically the only game of significance that he played for us. Absolute No more talking about Odell Beckham. I could care less how he feels about literally anything. Baker misses him, fine. You drop a pass that's 5 yards away from you on 4th down, see you, dude. You know who doesn't drop that pass? Jarvis Landry. Yeah. Jarvis Landry's a real Cleveland Brown. I don't know what Odell Beckham is at this point, but I'm not interested in talking about him any further. Start doing something, Odell, and then I'll start talking about you. Nick, I mean, our offense did everything that we could do. Yeah, Rashard Higgins got into the end zone, which is awesome. Chubb and Hunt did awesome. Baker played absolutely fine. Had no problems there. Stats, penalties. 7 penalties for 77 yards. And they all came at the worst time. Like, they all came at the worst time. And the play calling. You know, we're winning the game, and with like 3 minutes left, and and the play calling is like we're you know, there's 45 seconds left. And we're trying to just run it up the middle. Drop back, try to throw a pass. Nobody's open. We lost Ward. We lost, like, every player. Our entire team is made out of paper. They're all made out of paper. Everybody. What happened to the Jarvis Landry? Like, are they all hurt? Like, is that possible? Go look at our injury report. Odell Beckham. There you go. You get talked about because you had a shoulder. You were injured on a shoulder. That's what you get talked about for. Jadeveon Clowney, Jake Conklin, Tony Fields, Myles Garrett, Chris Hubbard, Troy Hill, Malik Jackson, DeCarris McKinley, Greg Newsome II, David Njoku, Malcolm Smith, J.C. Treader, Denzel Ward, Jedrick Wills. I mean, should I just list the whole fucking roster? Is that what we should do? Rastana is joining. Let me go ahead and pin him up here and get Mike into the screen here. Mike, give me one quick sec.
Yep.
Hold on, I got to do a little bit of math here on this to get you in here correctly, since Dad's not on there. Shape this up a little bit. Yeah, it was completely stupid and ugly game. Like I was just talking about before you joined. If we have to score 48 points to win a football game, we're not a championship team. That's just not it. I mean, I know there's a long season left, but let's stop kidding ourselves right now. If we think that we're going to be able to go to this stadium again in the Super Bowl, go up against teams like the Chiefs and the Bills and the Ravens and the Buccaneers, or the fucking Chargers themselves, and we have to put up 48 points. Yeah, it's nice that we beat up on the Texans. It's nice that we beat up on the Bears and the Vikings. That's really cute, right? That we did that well. But we went into a stadium that we needed to show the world that we could play, and we gave up 47 points, including 26 in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if we have enough time to get to all of them, but first and foremost, it's really, really hard to win in this league against the opponent that they put in front of you. And it's even more difficult when you have to not only play the opponent in front of you, but you have to play the refs as well. And,
Exactly.
You know, to a man in that locker room, they won't talk about it or use it as an excuse. You know, it was bad all day. The offensive pass interference that should have been called, that they called on us was just ridiculous. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, the game should have been over at that point. But with that being said, I mean, you know, you have to fight the adversity as well. And that adversity in this game was, you know, some bad refereeing that seems to be contagious, throughout the league. But with that being said, you know, you could second guess the going for it on fourth down early. Analytics say go for it. Obviously, OBJ drops the ball. It should have been a first down. You could play devil's advocate and you could say, Chase Mclachlan.
Hold on one second, Mike. Super check him in. 4th and 8 BS defensive pass interference call that changed the game. Defense was also absolutely disgusting. Also including $20 million injuries as well. If it comes $5 super chat comes from Cleveland, Ethan.
Yeah,
$20 million injuries.
I agree with that as well. And just to close that point that I was making, if he kicks the field goal there, it might be a different outcome at the end of the game. But let's say, you got to make the catch there, right? So it should have been first and goal. So, you can't fault the offense. They played well. But the one thing that I will say, before I even tackle the $20 million in penalties, because I got one person that's in my crosshairs, but I just don't. Is OBJ just not getting open? Like I can't wait to go back and look at this coach's film. Like I don't.
Well, it's weird because we've been saying all along, like where's Peoples Jones been? Where's Peoples Jones been?
Right, and then he pops out of nowhere.
Pops off, and has a great game.
And then you look at and I can't remember. I couldn't keep track because it was like a track meet. But the play to Schwartz, the deep try down the right sideline going right to left. Where is that play with OBJ? Where is OBJ? I mean, he is literally
lost. He's not there. He's
non-existent.
He had 2 catches for 20 yards, and he dropped a critical pass today that hit him right in the hand, right in his giant hands. It dropped him. So he dropped the pass. And I'm sorry, like this is the guy who's going to stand up and be all pissed off because Baker missed him on a seam route, right? Rightfully so. I'd be mad too. But then make your plays and pick up your quarterback when he hits you in the freaking hands, 5 feet in front of you. And yeah, it might have been a little hot, but still, that's why you get paid, and that's what you do.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. You could look to that second half, and one thing that I've noticed is when we get a lead, Stefanski has a very, very difficult time calling a complete game. And what I mean by that is, when we're, on the gas and trying to catch up with somebody, or we're trading, we seem to be pulling the trigger on the right plays. And then, when we've gone ahead by 10 points, 14 points, it's almost like he forgets how to call a game, and he goes away from some of the strengths. I mean, you look at, Njoku was killing them all game on those short little routes, little screen plays out there, and it's like sometimes they just abandon that, and I don't know why, I'm not an NFL coach. I'm not on the sideline, so the ebb and flow, that's neither here nor there for someone like myself, but as on the outside looking in, that's something that stands out a bit to me.
I mean, it's the things that what stands out to me. Thank you. What stands out to me that we have. I mean, like I talked about before you joined. Half our damn team's injured. Half of the team. Our right tackle, our left tackle, half our freaking defense. Are we elite when we have our whole team out there? Probably. Like, are we a championship team when our whole team is out there playing full strength? Yes. But you saw today, How easy was that for them to neutralize Myles Garrett on the majority of plays because there wasn't the threat coming from Clowney from the other side? I'm not saying that Myles had a bad game.
No,
I'm just saying that he didn't have as big an impact.
Yeah,
because they chipped him, or they just straight up double teamed him.
Yeah, no doubt. It's tougher when you don't have that other, that other guy on the other side that needs to warrant that, that extra man as well. It's yeah. I mean, and you're gonna have games like this where you're not looking for a shootout, and then out of nowhere you wind up in a shootout, and you'd like to see this game go in your favor. I think I mentioned on the pregame show, this is one of those games that you look back on at the end of the year, and it could be a deciding factor one way or the other. I hope that's not the case, but it always seems like it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were in a shootout, and unfortunately, I mean, even with the refs against them, you get the gift on the missed extra point, and then
2 of them.
You get the kickoff. The play calling is atrocious on that drive. But then more importantly, then you march out the same guy that they've been marching out all year as PFF score. I think he's like the 31st punter. And believe it or not, some teams have more than one punter, and there's like 38 guys that are ranked 1 to 38 on punting, and there's 32 teams in the league, and our guy's still ranked 31, right? So when you're looking for a boomer there, right after that 3 and out, when we're up by 1, and he nets 40 yards, and all of a sudden now they've got the ball on the 50, and you're looking at 1st and 10, and you're staring already at the field goal range, right?
Yeah, that was it. Like at the end of the game, it was like we put them like what, a first down away from a field goal.
Yeah.
And the really frustrating thing about it is when it's when we need to get if we just get first downs, we win that game.
Yeah. And Mike, it's like, yeah. And that was what was maddening to me in terms of play calling. I mean,
everybody in the stadium is like, oh, the first play's gonna be running it right up the middle. They stacked. They didn't just put 8 guys. They put 9 guys in the box.
And then on that last possession, the second to last possession, you pass 2nd and 10, and it was a ridiculous play call. And then 3rd down, you concede on a draw. That was a give up play to me, right? It was a give up play. Yeah. And then that was when it led to the punt, and there you are.
I mean, yeah, it was like let's make them burn a first timeout, which they'll gladly do. Now it's 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 10, whatever it was. We drop back, and since we didn't have a play, we had a drop back and fuck around and see what happens. Nobody gets open, and we don't draw a penalty. And then 3rd down comes, and that goes as well. And guess what? Punt away. And within 2 plays, they're right back down there. And that was it. And then we couldn't get out on the final drive with 1:30. We can't get out of bounds at all. Instead of when you need big chunks of yards, you can't dump it off in the middle of the field for 6 yards.
No, I agree.
You can't do that.
No, I think
your options are throw the fucking ball away, or throw it downfield with intention and put it on a guy and make him make a play. That last drive.
They went 12 yards in 37 seconds.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Even the announcers are saying that. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, I hate to pick on Odell. Where the fuck are you, dude?
No, I don't disagree. Like I said to you, I'll be really interested in watching the all 22 this week, because now I will say, and I can't remember which drive it was, but he took a shot downfield to Higgins. It might have been the 2nd to last drive, and he actually had Odell open in the middle, but he opted not to take that to take that option. I didn't get a chance to rewind it, so I don't know if he just didn't go through the progression and he missed it. That'll be something we could talk about on the Wednesday show. But he was open. But I mean, it's neither here nor there. Man, it's one of those things. You get into a shootout like this, and nobody expects to get into a. I don't even remember what the score is because I'm so frustrated. 47, 42, whatever it
to
was.
47.
Like you don't. Those things aren't expected. Like you just sort of wind up in the middle of one, and you have to find a way to win the game. And I got to tell you, and taking nothing away from Baker. I mean, he played well today, but I mean, you look at Herbert on the other side. I mean, that's a guy that, man, if they got to run, they'll run. But if he's got to drop back, he's going to find somebody and he's going to put it on him and he's going to move the sticks. And it doesn't matter if it's second down. It doesn't matter if it's third down. And it sure as shit doesn't matter if it's fourth down. He is going to drop back. He's going to find somebody and he's going to put it on him and he's going to move the chains. And today we got into a shootout and, the quickest gunslinger, if you will, won the game.
Yeah. Justin Herbert, and we talked about this on the pregame show that I was worried about this kid. He accounted for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the kid played. I mean, he had 30 yards rushing. He had 400 and it might have been more, Mike, but I think it was like 411 yards or something like that, and 5 touchdowns, or that might have been Tom Brady because he had another game too that was like similar to Herbert's stats. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough one because I don't know. It's again, and I talked about it earlier, the interference play. I mean, usually if a defender is not looking back and they're being handsy, throw the flag, call it on our guy, absolutely spot foul all day long.
Yep.
But I mean, when you have a guy, AJ Green is looking back, they're hand fighting equally, and I think it was Williams, grabs his jersey and he yanks on AJ Green's jersey. If anything, that's a no call either way. And it's a turnover of downs and it's a different ball game. But again, it sucks when a game goes against you and a big part of it is because of the referees. But at the same time, you can't use it as an excuse. You have to find a way. And we just didn't find a way out there today. And we're 3-2. And this game now becomes even more important on Sunday. And, no Russell Wilson. I mean, the Steelers played better today, but it would not surprise me in the least if next week doesn't get flexed to Sunday Night Football. Cardinals at Browns would not surprise me in the least.
Would that? You're not going to that game. I was just saying,
I'm not going.
Will that impact your travel plans?
No, my tickets are gone.
Yeah, I mean, with what kind of game probably if you're a non-fan of either team, like if you have no skin in this game, then I'm sure it was a fun one to watch. Lots of points are fun,
Shootout.
And I mean, you just look at Justin Herbert accounted for 30 points. 32, at least 2 blown coverage plays that were just he just he could have thrown it, he lobbed it to a guy wide open, and they had 2 of those.
And you have to wonder, honestly, in those situations. I'm going to give the Browns the benefit of the doubt on both of those. And when I say give them the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to say that at that point, we had shuffled in a couple of different guys in the secondary. And you wonder if, obviously it was a miscommunication, but you wonder if it's a miscommunication due to the fact that, you've got some guys in that normally wouldn't play. And I got to tell you, Mike, and
it's fair.
And don't get me wrong. I really, really like this kid, but he just can't stay healthy. And if you're not available, then you're no good to us.
Yeah.
And
It's the
that's
same reason
Denzel being hurt again. Like
same reason we got rid of Joe Hayden.
yeah,
Can't stay healthy for us. What are you doing?
Available. You have to be available. And people get injured. It happens. And I'm not saying that, he could have done something different or whatever. I'd have to go back and look at the play that he got hurt on. But it's for nobody's fault, right? Injuries happen. But man, he's just always getting injured. And I would think that you wouldn't have seen such a air raid, if you will, and how fitting that the air raid came from Don Coryell's San Diego Chargers, now the Los Angeles Chargers. But you have to believe that if Denzel's in there, it might be, a little bit different. And then the last thing that I'll say is, if Clowney can't play next week, and Denzel can't play next week, and Miles is banged up because we are going to have a very difficult time against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
There's going to be another 50 points.
Yeah, is it's a home game.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something, but I mean, if you look at, I don't know. I'm so frustrated with how we always seem to have our whole fucking team get injured. Like, how? Greg Newsome. So Greg Newsome, the guy that we drafted, because we had injury to our other deep cornerback, Grady Williams, right? He gets injured. Now Denzel, who gets injured all the fucking time. Denzel, of course Denzel's injured. Of course he is. Jadeveon Clowney. Of course Jadeveon Clowney's injured.
And you have to give, I'll tell you, Greedy played a hell of a game today. Hell of a game.
But he even got hurt at the end.
He did.
And toughed it out.
And he played the whole game with that shoulder. But you got to give him credit. He never left the field, right? And he played well. Yeah. Even like you said, at the end of the game, he was down on that one knee. He came out for one play. He came back. So, and he played really, really well all game, and he gutted through it. So, I don't know. I don't. Again, you got to be available to play.
Yeah.
And and Clowney, it was an ankle, then it was an elbow. I don't know what it is. Right?
They didn't even know. They're like, we know that it was an elbow, and there was an ankle, but the announcers are even like, there might even be more wrong with him.
Yeah,
We're not even sure if that's the comprehensive list of what's wrong with Jadeveon Clowney.
You're absolutely correct. And what's funny is, I don't know. I look at the stat line: 2 for 20 from OBJ, 5 for 70 from Donovan Peoples-Jones, 7 of 149 for Njoku, and a lot of those yards were made by him. Mm-hmm. You look at Baker's stat line: 23 of 32 for 305 and 2. Usually, you could probably get that. If I don't know how many teams rush for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the quarterback throws for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the team loses. I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, it's a very it's like a Kirk Cousins type of loss, where you just the numbers are great. He did nothing wrong. That you would say, like, hey, if your offense puts up, like, I don't care if you're like, if anybody's out there who's gonna say, look, our quarterback isn't good enough. We put up 40. Well, we put up 42 points. It doesn't. You're asking your quarterback to win the game. You need to give us 48 points, and he got pretty damn close to it.
If I told you, right, or if I told everybody in the chat that Baker passed for 23 for 32 for 305 yards, and then I asked you without telling you, what do you think OBJ's stat line would be? I could guarantee you that it surely wouldn't be 2 for 20.
Yeah.
And again, I I just can't imagine. I mean, the guy threw for 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I can't imagine that if OBJ, now he was open on that one play, but I mean, we were in crunch time at that point, and he was trying to push the ball downfield. But I just don't understand how he's not getting open. I mean, this guy is so fast and elusive. And we can't find him for like 2-3 shots downfield a game. There is no reason, right, why we shouldn't see at least 2 or 3 shots down the field at OBJ. A post, a double move, something. And we haven't seen it. And I don't know why. I mean, you look at the Hail Mary at the end of the game. He wasn't even in the picture.
Yeah.
Wasn't even on that side of the field. So what's going on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at the Chargers on the other side. And by the way, for everybody who's here, hook us up with a like. If you could hit the like button, it helps us out with the algorithm. So please consider subscribing as well. But if not, at least hit the like button for us. It brings it warms my cold Browns heart right now, just by clicking the like button for me.
And somebody in the chat said, did you not watch last week's game? And sure, OBJ was open last week, but I mean, last week Baker couldn't hit the broadside of a barn because his shoulder was bothering him or whatever it was. So last week really doesn't matter. Unfortunately, it matters what happened an hour ago.
Yeah.
Mike
Williams for the Chargers, 8 receptions, 165, and averaged 20 yards and 2 touchdowns. Has OBJ ever had that stat line?
Not since he was making one-handed catches against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football down the sideline. I mean, you start, and maybe if we start writing,
let me ask you this. Hold
the
on.
Obituary, maybe. Go ahead. Were you gonna say, Mike?
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Go. If I would have said who's going to have a better game, Donald Parham, Jalen Guyton, these don't even seem like seems like if you just put a name into a name generator.
Right.
2 catches, 35 yards. 2 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Better than Odell Beckham.
Yeah, and the only thing I was going to say about OBJ is whether he's open or he's not open, it's getting to the point, and I hope I'm wrong, and we start seeing it, flip flop the other way. But the myth and the old time stories of the Giants OBJ, right? The one-handed catch against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Eli hitting them for those quick slants and him taking it to the house.
The guy doesn't exist anymore.
You start to wonder, right? You start to wonder. I mean, I can't imagine that. And again, I mean, I'm sure he's open here or there, but the point being is is he not getting the separation that he once did, playing with the Giants? It's almost like a tale, right? You heard the stories of OBJ past.
Well, though, what I think is the worst part about the whole OBJ thing is how Browns fans and within the Browns community has taken the myth of OBJ, the one-handed catch, and then reskinned it as a Browns play. You've seen the GIF. You just go on Giphy and look up Browns. You'll see Baker throwing to OBJ and then OBJ catching the ball on Monday Night Football. Or people just making T-shirts out of the catch, and yeah, it probably is the greatest. If it might be the greatest catch in NFL history, I don't know. Like it might have been. Who knows? But I'll tell you one thing. You know what it was? It was, in the grand scheme of football, it was a great catch in a big game that ultimately didn't matter. How many rings does OBJ have? 0. What has he done since he's been to the Browns? Almost nothing. Almost nothing. It was
nice
exciting
play against the Jets. A couple against the Bengals the first time.
Is the Dallas game. He had one good game.
And the Dallas game, yeah. Couple games here and there, and then I don't know what happened. But the other thing that bothers me a little bit too, and I don't understand it. And again, Baker had a good game today, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, a ton more accurate than he was last week. But I through 5 games with this team, right? The one thing that I keep seeing, and it keeps rearing its head, and it's driving me crazy. And it very well could could coincide with, the play calling issues that I have here and there. But do you find that we run the ball at will, right? And I tweeted this, until we can't run the ball, right? It's gotten to the point where we've run a rough shot on somebody, and finally they say, you know what? Enough is enough. We're not allowing it to happen anymore. And then it's like we're lost, right? Like now all of a sudden they shut the run down, and just trying to get a 8-yard completion to try and make it 3rd and 2, or getting a 2nd and 15, and you move the chain, 15 yards rather, still 10 to go before the play. But those are non-existent in this offense. And if they're not, please, somebody tell me where it happens, because time and time again, we run, and we're successful. And then all of a sudden they shut that down. And now we have to make a play. And I talked about this earlier.
Yep.
We have to make a play in the pass game in order to keep them honest. And we can't do it.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Dad, welcome. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the beginning and all your comments, but I'm sure they were appropriate for what we saw today. I would think that if nothing else, as I was driving back to my house, short drive, the first thing I thought of was that Andrew Berry should be on the phone or on checking every roster, every practice squad that's out there for guys to be able to be picked up, because we got dinged up pretty badly today, and we're going to grab the guys that are on our practice squad and move them up, and then we need to backfill our practice squad with some talent, on the defensive side. I don't think we lost anybody more offensively. Hopefully the ones that are out will get better, but it was a good game by Baker. I was happy with his performance. He played very well. Chubb and Hunt did great.
Yep.
And we had a chance to win the game at the end. And Stefanski's play calling, when we were ahead by 1 point, all we had to do is 1 or 2 first downs and we win the game. We weren't able to do that. We run it, which, didn't amount to anything. Then Baker tries to throw a long pass, didn't amount to anything. And then another running play, which resulted in nothing. And rather than put the ball in Baker's hands and let him try to win it for you, he decided to, let's see, how it goes, and then we'll hold them, we'll punt. We didn't get a very good punt. We gave him field position at the 50-yard line. Terrible. Yep. And then the defense was so exhausted they couldn't stop anything at that point. And if it wasn't for what's his name, a linebacker who pushed their running back into the end zone to give him the touchdown, like Mike was saying, they should have kneeled 3 times and kicked the field goal. It's over.
Yeah.
But no, they and then they missed the extra point, which gives us a chance to win the game with 1:38. And I can't tell you the number of times that Mahomes, Rodgers, Breeze, you name it, Rivers, drove teams down and scored with less time than that and no timeouts. And we never even had a shot at the end zone, except for, 2 Hail Marys that went nowhere.
Yep.
And they even knocked our guy down, and they didn't call that either. So it was in our hands to win, and we weren't able to do it. It's unfortunate. Score a lot of points, give up a lot of points too. Like Mike said, 2 easy ones. two gifts we gave them. We earned every touchdown, every one that we got. So be it, 47-42, not, we'll look back on it and say that's one we could have had. And we didn't do it.
Well, if we would have taken the 3 points early on,
that too,
we would take the 3 points. It would have been a 2-point game. Or at the end of the game, if everything goes the same, right? I mean, who knows if they miss the field goals or not? Who knows the butterfly effect, right? It's not guaranteed it'll all happen the same way. But you look at it, and points are points, and we gave up on points. Now, we did go for it on 4th down, and Kareem Hunt did get in the end zone. So, I mean, who knows? But bottom line is, it's disappointing. The play calling, when they know that we're going to run the ball. They know we're going to run the ball. They stick 9 guys on the offensive line, and what do? We run it essentially over the tackle and get stuffed. And now they're like, great, 1 timeout, no problem. That's what we wanted. Now you got to pass. Cool. Now we're going to defend the pass. It's Mike was saying it before. We turn when the going gets tough for this team, we turn very pedestrian very quickly. Not to say that we didn't have a brilliant game for the most part. Putting up 42 points is a great game. And we had our moments. And we could have won that game.
Right.
But the bullshit about it is when we had to win, when we had a chance, the destiny was in our hands, and we said, now we're going to run it up the middle. And
I'd like to know how much discretion Baker had during the game, and then certainly at the end, to audibilize at the line of scrimmage. When he sees, as Mike, you were saying, 8 guys in the box, 7 guys in the box, and a running play has been called, which comes from the bench. Baker doesn't do that. He should have the authority to say, this is not going to work.
Yeah, this doesn't look good.
And we need to throw it down and, something out in the flat. We need to do a screenplay. We need to do
play action, roll out and dump it off. I mean, like those plays work almost every time.
The strength. Yeah. It just, I'd like to know that. If I was a reporter, I'd be asking that type of question at the press conference. Why was that the play calling at the end? Why didn't you audibilize to get yourself out of it? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least you're giving yourself a chance. We had the ball with the lead, and there were less than 4 minutes to go in the game. All we had to do was a couple of first downs, make them use up their timeouts, and we weren't able to do it. And the run was not going. We weren't going to pound the run with them having 7 or 8 guys in the box. That was not going to work.
No.
And you can't, yeah. And we talked about it earlier, Dan, before you popped on, it seems when this team takes a 10-point lead, 14-point lead, it's almost like they don't know. And I don't even know if don't know is really the way to explain it, but the play calling just goes south.
Right.
And it's the creativity's gone, and it almost looks like, all right, well, let's just try and see if this works. And then if it doesn't, hopefully the defense will play well. And I'm being facetious a little bit there in that explanation, but it's true. I mean, you don't have to have that much football acumen to watch a game and see a team go up by X amount of points and then sit back and rest on their laurels. And that's what we continuously do. And then all of a sudden, then they catch up. And then it's like, oh no, here we go. And then you turn it, and then you get into a shootout. And I'm sorry, Baker played a great game today, but you're not going to get into a shootout with Justin Herbert and have as many guys down on defense and win the game. It's just.
How many fourth down conversions did they make, Mike?
3 for 3.
They were 5 for 6, I think.
3 for 3.
Were they 3 for 3? I thought it was more than that.
3 for 3.
But still, and one of them was long. It was like 4th and 10, 12 or whatever.
Yep.
Threw it right over the middle. The guy made the catch, and he kept the drive alive. It's just that when you do that, you're getting extra possession after extra possession. And, we got a couple of turnovers, and we didn't make it work for us.
Yeah.
Oh.
And guys, I feel like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but if I look back through history, right? I feel like the last time I remember a corner tandem finishing a season together, or at least 10 games, I got to go back to Minifield and Dixon. Like like you look last year, Denzel and Greedy, one's out, the other's in, one's out, the other's in, one's out, the other's in. And then here we are again this year, playing good. Newsom goes down. Greedy comes in. Now Denzel comes out. Like you just can't get any continuity going, and I
Can't win championships when your star players are injured.
Yeah,
more consistently injured than not.
Yeah, there was no heads up on Clowney being out all week long that he had an injury.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden on game day, he's a no-show. I mean,
he had briefly.
Yeah, he didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, and he had limited practice on Friday. And they're like, "Nah, let's keep him out."
Yeah, yeah, and it was the kind of thing, and I don't know if it was him or it was Miles, but somebody asked Stefanski that during the presser. I think it might have been on Thursday, and he was like, "Oh, he's right over there. Why don't you go ask him?"
Mm-hmm.
So if when that report came through and I texted you too, I was very surprised.
I was shocked.
That hit me. Yeah, that was out of left field by all. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was waiting for Jedrick to be officially ruled. I knew that was coming.
Right.
How about that though? The line played the best they've played in a few weeks with a healthy guy over on the other side. He got plenty of help, but that's okay.
This is like. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say you could totally see there was more cohesion there.
Yeah,
one breakdown on the offensive line, and that was probably because of the tight end didn't block, not so much the left tackle, and Baker got crushed from the blind side. He could have been seriously injured on that play, but luckily he shook it off.
Yeah. I'm going to do the winner for the Brownie Postgame shirt. The winner, and I don't know if he's here or not, is Dave224. Dave224 won the Sabo Apparel shirt from the pregame show. I just pulled the winner. So, John, if you're out there, we got to make sure Dave224 gets his T-shirt. We should have his information on there. Guys, check out dogwoofs.com if you want to be able to start earning some points and enter into our contest. No Victory Monday tomorrow.
No.
And the worst part is, it's one thing if you lose a 1:00 game like that, because right now we'd be talking and it would be like 5:30. Meanwhile, you had that horrible loss, no Victory Monday, and it's 8:20 on the East Coast, and work calls in a few hours.
Yep. Well, my company gives us off tomorrow for
well, there you go. So you're good to go.
Columbus or Indigenous Peoples Day.
Good for you.
I'll be working tomorrow, but no disrespect to Columbus people who celebrate Columbus Day, if you do, or Indigenous Peoples Day, but I will be working tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it's weird.
Mike, I got to tell you. You know who we should give props to? The Fly Guy. Because I got to tell you, he you have to respect the fact that he is in this show every week as a Ravens fan. So, I mean, we appreciate it. I mean,
thank you, Fly Guy.
God bless you.
Thank you, Fly Guy, for personally upping our chat rate.
Yeah,
we do appreciate chat rate of 6 right now. And if anybody who knows YouTube, a 6 is a pretty decent chat rate for a show of our size. So appreciate that, Fly Guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. I mean, Mike, I wanted to know for you. Had you had this game circled on the calendar as a loss when you went through the season?
No, I did not think they would lose this game. But here we are. and I, the one game that I was worried. I don't even know if I want to say worried. I mean, there's other things in the world that you got to be worried about besides a football game. But
Right.
The Cardinals game for me was a little bit worrisome, we'll say, on the schedule because of what Kyler Murray brings, and
Right.
Edmonds is solid in the backfield, and defense is good, and then you've got DeAndre Hopkins, and you've got Kirk and company. So, and they've been playing great. And I don't know, did they win today? I know that was a close one.
I'm looking now to see.
Yeah,
They were ahead 10-0.
Yeah, I didn't get the final on that. I'm
Yeah,
assuming they won
17-10. They won
17-10. So that was the game that I thought, man, if we can get past that one, it's going to be clear sailing.
With half our defense injured, we're not gonna. It's gonna be very difficult. Okay, I'm not gonna say we're not going to. It's gonna be very difficult to stop that offense. Just like today. I mean, I don't think the Chargers offense is the most elite thing in the world.
No, not at all.
Going back to this season so far, they scored 20 points against the football team, 20 points against the Cowboys, 30 points against the Chiefs, okay, 28 points against the Raiders, and then 47 points against our beloved Browns. So, I mean, they can score. They can score points. So, yeah, they have one of the better offenses in the league. Okay, I'll give them that. But here's what I will say. Great teams beat good teams. Good teams beat average teams. Average teams beat bad teams. And today was one of those games where I think you saw two good teams play. I don't think either team was great. If you look at another experience, like the Buccaneers beat the Dolphins 45-17 today. Just absolutely annihilated them. Okay? That is a great team beating up on a mediocre team. So you look at the Browns chart. Again, our full 100% healthy roster, we win that game. It doesn't also help that we had to fly across the country to play in their home place too. If they play in Cleveland, they weren't missing anyone. I don't know if anybody was out for them. Their whole healthy team.
Yeah,
at home.
Nobody worthwhile anyway.
Nobody worthwhile. Their receivers played.
We outplayed them in the first half, and we got up 2 scores in the second half. So I mean, we were in control of the game, and as Mike indicated, we found a way to lose it. We found a way not to keep the lead, let them back in the game, let them back in easily, as opposed to earning it, grinding it out down the field. And they caught,
the fourth downs. I mean, the fourth downs
breaks,
killed
they
us.
caught 5 of them, that really helped them. So
and they tried their best to let us back in the game with those extra points. They did their best to do that.
Right.
And we still could not figure out a way to do it. I mean, it would have taken 48 points. That's a tall order. So far this week, the Chargers put up the most points in the NFL. We had gone from a defense that we were calling the best defense in the NFL.
Right.
We were talking about this as being the best defense in the NFL. To you give up 47 points, which is, I don't care what it is from the yards were insane. The points were insane. Everything was crazy today. I mean, they didn't give up a ton of yards on the ground. That's because, Herbert threw for 1 billion yards. So there wasn't a lot of yards on the ground to give up.
Our time of possession was probably far in excess of theirs.
Oh, yeah.
Because they scored so quickly.
The first half.
We gave them give me touchdowns.
We had one gigantic one too, but still, prior to today, we weren't giving up those long bombs over the top for 70 yards and 60 yards and 50 yards.
I blame it on LeBron for going for pretending to be a Browns fan again
Right.
and going. And I'll take the heat. I don't care. There are a lot of people when I tweet out about how he's a Cowboys fan, he's not really a Browns fan. You get all the basketball fans who are like, yeah, but he's still repping Cleveland. Bro, if you want to believe that, believe it all you want. He wasn't back in the Browns when we were terrible. I don't remember him going to a whole lot of games when, during the Cody Kessler era, right? So
Oh yeah, no, he showed his face once they started winning.
yeah, that's all it was.
And you know what's interesting is we talked about this on the Wednesday show, and I think I brought it up when you asked me if I was buying or selling, and I said, they were absolute great performances, but they were against mediocre teams, and we'd see what would happen today. And
well, we gave them a run for their money. We gave Kansas City a run for their money.
Yeah,
we are not a Super Bowl team at this point.
Not yet.
Even with a healthy team, I think we the play calling was suspect.
I don't know the health. Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward.
It's tough.
Yeah,
but
with Jedrick out. I mean, like everybody healthy. Like
it's a different story.
A lot better, but not perfect.
It's like it's not just one player. It's not like Jarvis is out. It's half the team.
Yeah, they are. But you know what's interesting too.
And we still scored 42 points.
And I said earlier, with just that, guys going out on the fly and us having to substitute in the back end and those broken plays or whatever, But I mean, if you look at those two plays,
mm-hmm.
When was the last time you saw a game where a team blew coverage like that twice in one game?
The Ravens game back when in Cleveland last year.
Yeah, I guess it was us. But point being is, you don't have two mental lapses like that, which were just horrible, and you win that game. But then at the same time, and I'll go back to it all day long, and it's a two-sided coin. If you take the 3 points earlier in the game, it probably plays out differently and you win.
Sure.
But then at the same time, you can catch the ball between your legs. You could catch it with one finger in your ear. But when it's 4th and 2 and the quarterback puts the ball right on your hands, and you can't catch it, which he could have caught it and fallen, and it's 1st and goal. Right. To me,
Baker.
Yeah, to me, that was probably one of the biggest plays of the game. When in hindsight, that could have been the game.
He could have. I mean, there was some daylight in front of him too.
Yeah,
I mean, who's to say that he couldn't have gotten into the end zone if he would have? Maybe it was the concentration. Maybe he took his eyes off of it for a second, thinking that he was just going to come right in. Maybe Baker threw it a little too hot. Maybe he missed it. Somebody got in his way, didn't see the ball come. I don't know. He dropped the ball. He dropped the ball in 4th and 2, which killed the drive and took points, some sort of points off the board.
Yeah, because at that point you were at least going to get 3 because he would have got the first down. So
with how McLaughlin's kicking, that's basically a guaranteed 3. Yeah. Which is, I mean, again, give it up to Chase Mclachlan for not missing again, for making his field.
And their kicker was horrible.
Their kicker missed 2 extra points. I
wouldn't be surprised if they release him on Monday.
I wouldn't be surprised either. So if I'm the Chargers, I'm nervous as hell. Right. That I got this kicker who we're trying to be a championship team as well. I think the Chargers are very good.
Why did they even hand off the ball and put it in the running back's hands at the end of the game
It made no sense.
Yeah, like Mike was saying, kneel down 2 times in a row.
Because then you would have had to rely on the kicker to make the kick.
Right, but it's an extra point from the 2-yard line, not an extra point from 30 yards out.
He's missed two extra points so far. I mean, maybe that's the thought process, is saying, like, you know what, 131, no timeouts. And at that point, they're saying, Baker, let's see if you can beat us. And he couldn't.
Yeah.
And that's the one criticism of Baker that you can say is that, like Dad, you said, Breeze, Rivers, Brady, Rodgers, the name your Manning. I mean, those guys will walk down the field and will score with 131 left. And again, this is one, like, if you look at the Chiefs game and you look at this game, the two games where we had a chance to go down and win the game with a drive,
Right.
we could not do it. And they both were, you have to go score a touchdown. They weren't, you got to get us in field goal range. There, you got to go score a touchdown. And we couldn't do it. And
Do you know
that's ultimately what cost us. What it didn't cost it was the end of the game.
two things. One, the Browns are the first team in NFL history to lose despite scoring 40 plus points and having no turnovers. That's one.
Of course.
And then two, I can't tell you how many blue check marks are out there talking about how the game was stolen from us. And man, when you look at that view, that hones in right on the play,
Yeah.
them looking back facing us.
I tweeted it. McNeil tweeted it.
I mean, it really is. It's an absolute sin, and the refs should not have this much influence over football games. And then I don't want to go
Without
here.
Without a review.
And I don't want to go here, but there's a reason why there's a team in Vegas, and there's a reason why there are point spreads on football games. And I'll leave it at that.
I mean, I look at it like this: is there another sport that allows the referees to make calls like that shift? I mean, a defensive holding, first down.
Yeah, basketball and baseball have their umps and their refs, and they're making judgment calls throughout the game, whether a guy is fouled or not, a ball, a strike. At least in baseball, they've gotten to review some of the slides and whether a person, is out at first or whatever. But it's the nature of all the games. I mean, you can't put it on automatic. And unfortunately, the refs did not make the calls our way this time.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it just seems to me like when a bad call is to be made, it is always on it. We always get the dick end of it, and it's like
it's the blatant ones that really.
Yeah, like the Higgins hit in the Kansas City in the playoff game.
Yeah, I don't know. You never want to blame the referees. I know you should always have an opportunity to win the game, but
yeah, right.
I mean,
that's what the coach would say.
If a referee is going to, if a referee is going to make a shit call, that on a third or fourth down, that impacts. Think about it like this: how many if there's a play where they run the ball and it's try to get a first down or a scoring play like that, how many angles? How they could take 5 minutes to look at a play, but on a pass interference call that could also impact the game in a drastic way.
Right.
It's whatever the call is on the field, move on, and that's where Sean Payton and the Saints were saying, like, this is insanity that you can't look at that you can't have a second look. It impacts the game.
Within 2 minutes of the half or 2 minutes of the end of the game, where it's critical, that would improve things. It wouldn't make it perfect, but at least you can feel comfortable that it's more important to get it right than to make the call and move on. I mean, just just too much at stake.
And there's always an element to this thing that some folks forget as well, is that, and I'm not saying one way or the other, somebody can go do some investigating reporting, but, before these guys were referees, they were fans of teams as well. So you don't even understand the backstories there in terms of these guys refereeing these games and having some bias one way or the other. But I mean, you look at that pass interference call. I mean, I keep putting it on loop as I'm sitting here, and I keep getting angrier and angrier because I don't understand how there's a line judge and a back judge. And I mean, you could even take the referee because he's looking down that way and see the offensive, both of them looking back for the ball.
Right.
The offensive guy pulling Green's jersey down, and we don't even get a huddle
Right.
where the officials get together and say, "What did you see? What did you see? What did you see?" Nothing. It was like, "Oh yeah, it was, it's pass interference." It's just, it makes it tough sometimes as a fan, and like I said, you start thinking about the whole Vegas implication in there, and there's no way that some of this stuff isn't influenced because of that. So
yeah,
it is what it is. You just gotta hope that eventually we're on the other side of that.
Yeah, I mean, today it obviously did not bounce our way, and that's a frustrating thing because this would have been a game that I would have definitely wanted to win. Going to the West Coast, it's just going to the damn West Coast. It's like it's the same thing.
It's like a graveyard.
Yeah, it's just like we can't win out there, and that's where the Super Bowl is going to be, that same freaking stadium, and
long ride home tonight.
Long flight home. I mean, there's a lot to be happy about. The offense played fine.
Yeah.
There was no
Baker
turnover.
had a bounce back game. Played well. I don't think he had the ball in his hands to win the game at the end. The play calling was, I think, suspect. And I think if nothing else, maybe they use it for motivation to beat Arizona next week at home.
Yeah, we got to come back home.
Bounce back game, a bounce back win. That's sort of what we did last year. We started off, we lost, I think, the first game, then we won 4 in a row, and then we lost 1, and then we won 4 in a row. So if that's the pattern, I think we have beatable teams coming up on the schedule.
Yep.
We're going to be there for the Pittsburgh game, and hopefully we beat
weeks.
up on Pittsburgh. They beat up on Denver today, and go from there.
So we got the Cardinals, Broncos, and then we'll be there on the 31st.
Right.
So it'll be the Cardinals, which, God, I mean, I don't know. The Broncos at home, we have to win that game. And then 10 days later, we got the Steelers.
We got 3 straight home games. 3
straight home games, and then the Bengals. So a short away game.
Right.
And we don't know. For all intent and purpose, we could get to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Denzel was a stinger and he was held out for precaution. He's back. Clowney's back. And Newsome could be back from that ankle. So I mean, it could, just as it turned with Clowney, where we had no idea, and then poof, out of nowhere, it was like, yeah, he's not playing.
Yeah,
it could totally be the opposite for us on during the midweek, where we're like, oh wow, so we are playing the Cardinals with almost full strength or full strength, but who knows?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's get out of here. It's been at it for a little while. Guys, join us for the Wednesday show. We're going to be live at 7:00 ish on Wednesday. Me and Mike do our midweek show where we go through the PFF scores, and by that point, the sting and the bad taste in my mouth, will be washed away, and we'll be back to our happy, normal selves. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please do me a favor. Just hit the like button. Please. Let the boy. You remember the old Adam Sandler and Chris Farley, where it was the Hurlihan boy? I think it was. Let the boy give your grandmother a bath. That's all. Hit the like button. Just hit the like button for me. And we'll see you on Wednesday for the Wednesday show, and then we'll be back on Sunday again. Like Mike said, could get flexed to the game of the week. Who knows?
Yeah, let's hope.
It's another 4:05, so we'll be back again live for the pregame show on the 17th, on next Sunday the 17th. So we'll see you Wednesday. Go Browns.
Go Browns.